On April 30th, the Provincial Government announced the COVID-19 Relaunch Strategy, and as many are aware, it outlined a staged approach on how we reopen our province. May the 14th has been identified as the potential start date for Stage 1, and I suspect many residents are looking forward to that day as a point when we might start to see a more normal state in our city. The reality is, many details about how municipalities fit into this strategy are still unanswered. Although we are hopeful things will continue to move forward towards reopening, we also want to manage the expectations of our community. As the City of Lethbridge continues to seek clarity, residents should not expect to see any major changes to the status quo come Thursday. We know each stage will require careful evaluation in consultation with the provincial government and health experts. With many measures still in place, such as mass gathering limitations and physical distancing restrictions, the City will continue to exercise caution to protect the health and safety of our community. As we look ahead to the possibility of reopening services, I would encourage everyone to do what they can to support local business. We know this has been a challenging time for them all, and their reopening will require modifications that may add additional challenges. Our support is vital at this time. For businesses who are looking for details, the province has established a BizConnect branch through the Provincial Operations Centre. If business operators are unsure where their services fit in relation to the recovery stages, they are able to email bizconnect@albertagov or gov.ab.ca for clarity. Additionally, this address can be used for businesses and agencies to submit plans to open or host events for provincial review. General information and frequently asked questions can also be found at that site. I'd like to wrap up by again commending our community for their ongoing efforts to follow the public health orders and help flatten the curve for COVID-19. You're doing an amazing job. As we head into the May long weekend, we know this is typically time to get together with friends and family and start enjoying the nicer weather. I would encourage you to make Victoria Day 2020 a little bit different by enjoying these activities only with those in your own household. It's important to find ways to connect with loved ones outside your home, maybe through technology as a way to protect your mental health and well-being. It's also important to show others that we are thinking of them and we continue to watch out for each other.
All the message for today is that as businesses plan to reopen, just want to add one more thing to their long checklist of activities before they open up. And it's really just a reminder that if your building's been empty for the last couple months, then the water in your plumbing in the building is likely stagnant. And so we're just reminding people to freshen that up, to flush the plumbing within the building, to replace the water that's been sitting there this whole time. There's a guidance document available online on the city web page that was provided to us by the Canadian Water and Wastewater Association that will help building operators to work through this. For large buildings, plumbing can be complicated and it may take some planning, but for the most part, this is really a simple thing. It doesn't take long. Open your fixtures, starting with cold water, and run it until it feels cold, and then you know that what's been sitting there all along has been flushed out. And then move on to the hot water. Make sure your hot water tank is operating and the water is hot. So it's really just a reminder to the operators of buildings and to business owners that while you're preparing to open to the public and for your employees, to just take the time to freshen the water within your plumbing.
As Mayor Spearman mentioned, we're nearing the May 14th date. Many residents feel things are going to return to normal at this time. Again, they need to curb their expectations slightly. May 14th is a suggested date. We want to make sure everything is safe for our citizens and our staff. So as we work forward from there, we will make sure we have everything open, and we'll make sure we'll be communicating that out to the public as we go forward. I want to reiterate, we need to be very cautious as we reopen. We don't want to have any gaps or have any spots where this virus can be transmitted. So it's super important we catch all those pieces before we open up a facility. Now more than ever, folks need to make sure they're very, very diligent with the basics, hand washing and physical distancing. It's key so we don't have another outbreak or a spread in our community or in any other communities. And as I said, we're going to take this very slow and cautiously and make sure we've covered our bases as we go forward. Since the relaunch strategy was announced, our ECC, that's our Emergency Coordination Center, has been meeting with every city department and on all of our leaders to identify how we could reopen and what stages we'll reopen at and what resources are required. I'm sure you can imagine, just like with any business, all of our business units within the city require a plan, and they'll have PPE issues. They'll also have other specific concerns and issues within each of the departments. We want to make sure we can manage all of those pieces adequately. Through all of our planning, we're always in contact with the provincial government and with our Alberta Health Services liaison folks. So all of our plans get filtered through there. This whole situation, I want to remind folks, is a top-down run piece. The province is providing the guidelines and the sort of the structure to us, and the city then responds to those pieces. So we are at the mercy of the province a bit, and we need to make sure that we respond adequately and support the provincial decisions. From our perspective, stage one it is clearly identified. We can see museums, art galleries, summer camps, additional outdoor recreation pieces such as the disc golf, community gardens, tennis, pickleball. I've had a few phone calls about pickleball and basketball courts. Those types of outdoor activities, we're working our way through all of those pieces to make sure everyone's concerns and issues are addressed. I know people are very frustrated and want to get out and do these activities, but we want to make sure that we do it in a safe way and we're not going to contribute to any type of spread of the virus. Just yesterday, the provincial government launched the sort of official website, so I would urge everyone, whether you have a business or not, to go onto the Alberta COVID site that the province has put up and take a look at what the relaunch strategy is and all the components in there. It has great guidelines for everyone, whether you're at home, whether you have a business, or if you're in a volunteer organization. Lots of great information in there, and they're telling us they're going to be populating more and more information onto that website as they go forward. We're currently reviewing all the new information that the government is putting out, and we're looking for areas where this is going to be applicable to all of our city operations. Again, I keep safety. It's my key driver as Director of Emergency Management, is to make sure people are safe. I want to send out a special thank you. This is today's Nursing Day. We celebrate nurses, but I want to extend that out to all of our frontline emergency healthcare workers. They're doing an amazing job in an extraordinary time. So it's super important that everyone take a moment and remind yourself of all the people that are putting some form of a sacrifice out there when we're dealing with people who are sick like this, putting themselves at risk. And this goes right into all of our long-term care workers. They're doing a fantastic job. I know my mother's in a facility here in the town, and it's really amazing to see the folks and how they've stepped up to their jobs and how they're taking care of all the folks in our city.